This is Top Contender Boxing. We keep it real, 100, and unbiased. Today's topic is yesterday's bouts. We had great 4 bouts on PBC. It was a great event. You know, you couldn't ask for so many good fighters. That was a good fight. Those were good fights yesterday. But let's break them down from the first ones to the last. The first one I was watching was Rashidi Ellis versus Ramon Villa. That bout was real good. I mean, personally, if you like boxing and you understand boxing, you must understand. Hey, Rashidi Ellis, he's got to be your favorite in this fight coming in. He was my favorite coming in this fight because of his speed, his defense, his accuracy. The man is a very technical boxer, but being very technical can make you very lazy and can make you play with your food. And that was the case yesterday in that fight. I think personally he stepped off the gas. He started playing with his food like anybody who's observing. He stepped off the gas and who came in the later rounds? Villa came in the later rounds to finish to become the dog in that fight. He took over those last rounds, and when he took over those last rounds, he dropped Ellis twice in those last rounds, in those last couple rounds, in those late rounds. And I'll be honest with you, Villa looked like he wanted it more. He was more hungry. He was more powerful, more determined. He just said, I'm not going to lose this fight, point blank. And he won with decision. He won with a unanimous decision. That was a great fight. I personally believe Rashid Ellis, after that showing, should not be calling anybody at 47 right now. That man has to go back to the drawing board, and he has to reflect on that loss. Because, hey, if this man came back in the later rounds and took it to him like that, he needs to work on something different. Am I right or am I wrong? You know, he took an L yesterday that mentally he should come back from and regroup. He can't just go call out Virgil, go call out the big names for the money because he'll lose it all. You know, this is the game. The next bout that appeared was the Boo Boo versus Nicholson. Now for Boo Boo, he fought a fighter who Berlanga fought and who dropped. You know, Berlanga, he isn't much of a good 68-pounder. You know, he's got some power for a young fighter, Berlanga, but he took down Nicholson. And Nicholson, I've seen a lot of Nicholson's fights, and I'll be honest with you, no disrespect towards Nicholson, but he looked like a man who just came in there to be a punching bag. Like he came in there for a paycheck. I mean, yeah, he was giving some. He's a strong man. You weren't going to hurt him. You weren't going to hurt him. But he seemed like a punching bag. And yesterday, the way Boo Boo fought him, he fought him like a punching bag. I mean, he was just there to get punched. Boo Boo dropped him twice in the first early couple rounds. But, what's the word? He dropped him first in the couple rounds, but they weren't like dominating, like real dominating rounds. Boo Boo was technically winning, but later in the middle rounds, Nicholson dropped Boo Boo Andre. And it was a body shot. It was a clear body shot. He dropped them. He set up those body shots and dropped Boo Boo. But the ref didn't want to call it a knockout. He called it a drop. He called it a slip. And if anybody watches that reruns, you got to watch it in different angles. The man went down. I don't know if I'm not the only person calling it bias, but other channels are calling it bias. I mean, I've already seen 4 channels, and they're not all just all Hispanic channels. They're not just white channels. They're all black channels, and they're all saying the same thing. This is just so other people don't say, oh, well, this guy's a racist. No, I keep it 100 and unbiased. I really thought Boo Boo got dropped yesterday to the body with body shots. But obviously Boo Boo came back to win the fight. Obviously Boo Boo came back and was winning over points. He's the better boxer. He's the skilled man. But let's just say this. At 168, I personally don't believe he's ready for anybody at 68. I mean, think about it. He didn't fight Triple G at 60. He didn't fight Charlo at 60. He didn't fight Jonabek, his mandatory, at 60. And that man is not a dancer. That guy's not a punching bag, Jonabek. Jonabek is a come forward, I'm going to let you have it type of fighter. And, Boo Boo picked his fighter all right, Nicholson. And you know what? Nicholson didn't lay down. Even though he did get punched a lot like a punching bag a couple times, Nicholson came to fight. Nicholson hurt him, and Nicholson didn't get his respect for it. And you don't hear it that much. But here you will hear it. Boo Boo did get dropped. And I don't think personally Boo Boo's ready for any of the top dogs. I mean, hey, you know what? Who doesn't want to see Boo Boo fight a top dog? I want to see him fight Charlo. That's who he needs to fight, but Charlo. I think they'll be even, that fight. Anybody knows that. I'll pay for that fight. I want to see Charlo and Boo Boo go at it real nice. And I think Charlo might hurt him from watching what I saw last night. Because Charlo ain't no punching bag. Hey, Charlo's gonna swing. He ain't no punching bag. Okay, we'll talk about the next bout. Drawn Boots Ennis versus Karen. This was his debut, just like Boo Boo's debut. It was Boo Boo's debut yesterday on PBC. This is Drawn Boots Ennis' PBC debut, and it was against a Ukraine fighter in Karen. And Karen, he's a very defensive fighter. He's a very slick defensive fighter. And I thought he was probably going to land points on Boots. I thought Boots was going to be able to cut off the ring real nice on him. But don't get me wrong, Boots landed some good punches and got thrown some good punches back. But Boots, I thought, was going to be a more dominant fighter, was going to overwhelm Karen. We all expected Boots to hurt Karen. We all expected Boots to hurt Karen and drop him. But that was not the case. Karen came to fight. There's a couple times Karen should have let his hands go. It seemed like he was very hesitant. I mean, in this fight, it showed a better fighter who does let his hands go, who isn't as much defensively, will hurt Boots. The man can't cut off the ring. The man can't cut off the ring. He can't hurt nobody in that fight. He couldn't hurt Karen in that fight, which surprised everybody. And I heard different, like I'm saying, I'll hear different channels before I come out and say my things. Because you want to be even with these guys and make sure your eyes are seeing the same thing. Because I can't say something and some other guys are saying other. I'm saying about just the same what I saw. And I saw Boots. He didn't look like he was hurting his fighter yesterday. Because when he does step up to the higher competition like Virgil, like Errol Spence or Bud Crawford, your A game's got to be there. You cutting off the ring has got to be there. Your years of ring generalship needs to be there. I think personally, Boots, he's got that interim belt. The winner, with this belt, he should be able to get the Errol Spence fight. But I don't personally think he's ready for Errol Spence. Yes, you want to see a young man win and take it all. You never know. It was just that guy. It was just matches make matches. No, that was not the case last night. If a man who has power against him, he will get hurt. Even though Drawn Boots Ennis won this fight, he's never been took in 12 rounds. Especially by Karen, especially by that type of fighter, especially by a defensive fighter who isn't throwing you that much. That should tell you enough. If a defensive fighter is giving you a tough time and you can't knock out this defensive fighter, you can't hurt this guy who isn't throwing much at you, you need to worry a little bit. You need to work more on your basics. You need to work more on cutting off the ring. I mean, in reality, that's what needs to happen. Because you fighting Virgil, the cutting off the ring thing ain't going to happen. You're going to need to move. Because Virgil's 100% knockout artist. It could be 90 to 100. Either one, he's hurt people in all his fights. And so is Crawford. And so is Earl. You're in that top elite, in those 3 top elite fighters at 47. You need to be ready. So Boots needs to be at 100% ready for that fight. I personally think Boots needs to fight names. Like Mean Machine, maybe. You know what? Mean Machine would be perfect for Boots Ennis. Because people say, hey, you can't mix match and say, well, you know what? You fight a Mean Machine, it'll show you keep up with Crawford and Virgil. Those are your 3 triangle effects. We'll see how good you keep up. That's the fight I want to see. But you know what? It wasn't a bad showing. He got his belt, his interim belt. He won his 12-round decision. It's not hate on the man, but he does need to work on a lot of things. He needs to work on more on his power. He needs to work more on cutting off the ring. He needs to work on his defense. He needs to work more on going to the body. That's for Boots Ennis. That was, let's not give him his hate. He won. Now let's talk about Tank and Garcia. This Tank and Garcia fight. Let's just say this. It was a chess match. Each man was taking their time to let go of their punches. Either man didn't want to get caught on something bad. And you know what? Tank, he proves us always. He always shows us something different in each fight. And Garcia showed us different in something in this fight. With Tank, he's being more patient. He's being punch selective. But you got to understand, it might not look like it hurts to the eye, but everything Tank throws hurts. There's a reason why his name is Tank. There's a reason why in his last fights, all he does is hurt people and drop people. I mean, you got to remember, he fought Pitbull Cruz. Pitbull Cruz ain't no slouch, ain't no joke. He is the top of the little food chain, that little guy. And he stood there and fought with him. Well, in this fight with Garcia, he was picking his punches. He was landing his punches. It honestly seemed like I'm not going to say a 50-50 fight, but I had Tank over by 2-3 rounds into this fight. But Tank was hurting him. They were hurting each other, but I think Tank was landing the bigger shots, hurting him more, Garcia, until the 9th round where Garcia didn't want to get off the stool. And that right there, not getting off the stool, He said he couldn't see in the fight, but I personally personally believe, and any other fighter understands and knows that when you get hit too many times in the face, it could either be an orbital shot, or you're done taking those punches. You're done taking that brutal punching. I think Garcia should go down to 130. He shouldn't be at 135. He's a good fighter who was undefeated. He just barely lost. He just took that one. He just lost his O. I personally think this was a good tune-up for Tank. But when he fights Ryan, it's going to be a whole different story. This was a good tune-up, but his upcoming bout against Ryan Garcia is going to be something different. I got Tank winning the Garcia fight, the Ryan Garcia fight. But, I'm still 50-50 for Ryan. You never know. I got Tank winning the fight, but on the side, you want Ryan to win. That's how my heart is. Good money is Tank. Good money right now is Tank. Betting money is Tank. But my heart goes for Ryan. It's not because he's my raza, not because he's my peoples, but that Ryan, he'll surprise you with a hook. He'll surprise you in the fight. He surprised me in his last fight. He surprised me in the last fight against Fortuna. I didn't think he was going to come out that explosive, but that's here or there. I think Tank is ready. I think Tank's ready for that fight. This is everything he's been trained for, everything he's done. He seems like the more patient fighter. He's more selective, and he don't surprise me no more. He used to surprise me, but he don't surprise me as much. It's because you got to realize this man is either going to knock you out or hurt you, either one, or take you to deep waters. And that's something that Tank has done his whole career. He's only just proven us all wrong. So don't be surprised that he beats Ryan Garcia this next coming up fight. I won't be so surprised. I will be surprised if Ryan wins. That's a surprise if Ryan Garcia wins. Because in my eyes, I think Tank's going to win it. Tank's going to take it. But it was a great showing yesterday for PBC. It was a great card. This is what boxing needs. Boxing needs more events like this. It needs a whole card full of great fighters like this. I mean, it's got us all like, oh man, yeah, he should win tonight. This shouldn't be an upset tonight. He should be more fun. He should be letting his hands go. He should have had a knockout tonight. That is boxing. That's what we enjoy. That's what we want to see. That's what we pay to watch. Like and subscribe. Thank you guys very much.